So, Mark Schumann, Brad Whitfield. Brad Whitfield was a guy I knew over there at Kintronics. And Mark Schumann knew an awful lot about me. And they used to go out drinking together. And they hang out down at the bar. Every once in a while, I'd go out there and hang out with him and talk to him and stuff and everything. And this and that. I wanted to yell at Mama. But it was kind of cool. Brad one day left me in the bottom of this tank, about 8-9 feet down. It was 2 to 3 feet, 4 to 5 feet higher than my hand. I stayed down there for what seemed like forever. So I got in the back corner and I ran and I leaped up and I kicked off the back wall. I leaped on the first wall and I climbed out. I got out of the tank. He looks at me. He looked at the tank. He goes, "How'd you get out?" I told him, I said, "Jumped." I said, "You can't reach that high. How did you get out of there?" I said, "I jumped out." "How else am I going to get out? Everybody else is at lunch." And the manager was on top of the thing. He wasn't going to let me out. He didn't even like me. So anyway, I get out and I'm up on top and everything. He goes, "Hey, let's go to lunch together." He goes, "Okay." I said, "I'll buy." So he wanted to know, so I told him, I said, "I ran and I jumped." He said, "Where do you learn how to jump like that?" I said, "Bruce Lee was my martial artist." He said, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense then." So I gave him closure on that. But anyway, Brad was a cool dude. And a guy named Chuck, it wasn't Chuck Davis, it was Chuck, I forget his last name. But anyway, all this stuff is Kintronics years. It's like years and years and years ago. It's like a mega long time ago. So anyway, to make a long story short, all this stuff went on and everything else, and he ended up being a pretty good friend, but he worked with me in a couple places, come to think of it. Brad came back and became a sheriff. And he goes, "Why don't you go down there, fill out an application, they'll hire you. You better than what you're doing." I said, "No, I don't like that kind of work." He said, "Yeah, I heard you didn't." He said, "I heard what happened." He said, "I'm sorry." Then he went on. There's another friend of mine that was a cop, and I was having some problems in my apartments. And he said, "I can't live over here. I'd put more than half of these people in jail." So now you know my point. So we was living with Candy, and things weren't going on. My friend the cop was like, "How you get on with her?" I said, "It's varies sometimes. She has a history." I said, "I didn't know that." And I know it was too late for me to do anything about it. I was already married and everything else, and I knew that something was wrong, but I didn't know what. Then I figured it out. And then when I figured it out, I left. Randy doesn't have those problems. Randy and I get along great. I mean, I'll probably do this until the cows come home. He's flipping his tail. Means he's happy. When they look at you, they'll drop their head and lower their horns. They're coming at you. I just would hate to hurt one. Dude, he made the deer a little bit nervous. That just stood with me for about half hour, 45 minutes. This is like my second time around the building and everything. I'll wait till Mama comes in. She sees the car and she comes in. She'll come in when I call her sometimes. She'll come in when she's hungry. She'll come in when she's thirsty. Put enough water out for him. Let's think about starting a fire. I read these videos here, and I get a lot of views and stuff, and it's really weird what people like sometimes. Sometimes I'll premiere a video and it's just a shot of me just sitting there, not saying anything. It gets a few hundred views. The treetop video got a few thousand. It's still sitting at 2,400, but it should be higher because I ran it through a few times and it got a few more views, but for some reason they're not coming to me. I don't know if somebody's taking them or what's going on. Now, I had an argument with the guy from Chess, and he said it wasn't me, it was lagging. Well, it shouldn't do that. It shouldn't lag like that. And I lost every one of those games because of that. Especially when they had timed out on me. Legally timed out. So I'm trying to play it again when I feel like it. Right now I don't want to. I'm going to get on my Corsica. I'm going to look up Lynn Deister from Wellington, Kansas, and see if he wants to chat. And tell him married, kid on the way. So, it's just strange. He also knew I was going to have him extend the lifetime. He didn't know when it was going to happen. So Lenny was my little buddy. I almost married him. I'd be in Kansas if I did. He's only a few hundred miles south. He married one of his friends, one of the girls he knew in high school. Married him. And I think they're still in Kansas. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do that before I forget. And then I'm going to go ahead and get online, call Randy, see when he's coming home. I'm hungry. I'm sad because I miss my parents. My parents were alive back then. I should have went and visited my uncle and everything else. I need to get a hold of Wade Crutchfield. He's my uncle. And tell him what's going on and everything. I mean, that would be a place I can go. Portland is just about a couple hundred miles from Medford. Medford is about like this place. I mean, his cousin hit on me, and they were hitting on me. I get hit on just about wherever I go, so I don't need to worry about not being with anybody. I just don't want to be with anybody. I don't want to leave Randy. But I would like to see my uncle again. I remember their names. And Bobby Baldwin, I'm going to look him up again too. So I'm going to start looking up my family and friends, and I'm going to remember these names and write them down on the notepad. I'm going to get another one of those pads and a notepad. Not to pass the test with, but for other stuff. And I'll put my paperwork in it instead of having it in the bag. That's what I want to do is go to Walmart and get that doggy treat. I just throw it out here and see if they eat it. But anyway. The neighbor down the street in the motorhome getting ready to take off, take his kid to school. I was talking one day, and I said, "Don't tell Randy." I said, I was talking to a lady come ago, and I said, "He's the one that's fun to look at." She just started smiling and laughing. The one that's fun to look at. Birds.